So this photograph was taken when we were at camp on the Isle of Wight again. I think that's me looking ridiculously smart in actual fact, because I remember that jacket from my mum. This had a themed one. Looking at the boys here, I think it looks like we'd possibly look like we've all been evacuated or something, but in reality, we'd just arrived off of a long journey. We'd gone down by train all the way to the crossing area for the Isle of Wight to go and get a ferry. And on the train we had our usual fun and games, and we're climbing up onto the luggage racks and things like that. And indeed one of the boys fell down and broke his arm, and that was our big excitement of the day, was trying to work out how he's going to get his arm sorted out. And he did eventually join us back in the camp. But that was a good grounding for what we supposed to have been there, this particular camp. We'd gone under the theme of being young knights, effectively, and we were going to Camelot, and we were going to be knights of the round table. And indeed our tents were divided into different names. One of them would have been something like Ivanhoe, and one would have been whoever the other knights were at the time. We were encouraged to do arts and crafts, so beforehand we had to cut our own shields out of some wood, and we had to paint them, and we had to decide which kind of uniform and camouflage, because we were going to have these mock battles. So you wanted to be very, very bright and colourful, but you also didn't want to, later on when you did the night games, as they were called then, be easily recognised. So the shields were good, but they were also able to be used to seriously defend yourself. We weren't allowed to make sharp swords though. We were only allowed rounded ended ones with rubber on at the time. So they had some kind of idea of safety. But there was also poetry associated with different battles you fought. The ladies, I can't believe it at this age, the ladies you were perhaps wooing. Interesting enough, when you came back from camp, the females who weren't as part of this camp were inquisitive about who won which battle and who did what, and we were very proud to say how we were kind of rescued so-and-so from that camp, who'd been taken prisoner and that type of thing. But it was very good. Yeah, so this camp was particularly only for boys, and I think that most of the camps during the period I was at Brady and prior to it were for boys only. As we got into the juniors around about the 15, 16 mark, we did have mixed skeet weekends, and we were mixed at the club itself, but not for the camp. The first Brady trip, which was one of the last ones I did, was we went to a place called La Napoule in south of France, near Cannes and Nice and that way. And that was a mixed one. We were considered just about old enough then. So this photograph is of us boys preparing for battle, but preparing very early for battle. This was getting the shields done prior to going to camp to the Isle of Wight, where we're going to set up a whole realm of Camelot, and we would have our individual shields with our names on, like support. We would actually have within our tent a tapestry that would depict what we had done, what we were going to do, and how we'd achieved it. So this was an ongoing tapestry. So we did a nominal amount of artwork when we were down there as well. We got the costumes together ourselves and tried to drive our parents mad, well, mums mainly, to be quite honest, to make something that looks very smart. There is a certain dullness about the colours, but that was for camouflage as much as anything else. And these were actually used. There were competitions where you would do hand-to-hand fighting. I don't think in this picture we can see the swords, which were made rubber tipped.